Whoop. Okay, we have found our way to the very last question of the study team test. I'm sorry, last page. Sorry, that's three questions. So question 9 is up at the top, and we end with question 11. So question 9 says, graph each equation, identify the y-intercept and slope of each line. So, oh my, the first one's very straightforward, right? The slope there is a pattern of up 1 over 2 units. I can read that because it's the coefficient of x. So the slope is 1/2, and the y-intercept is occurring at the spot -6, right? The value is -6. If I want to write it down as a location, I could write down that x is 0 and y is -6. That's the location of that. Um, and then I have to graph it as well. So that's not bad, right? I'm going to just go ahead and go down to -6, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This probably should have a scale on it. So I'll just say that each one of these is worth 1, 2, 3, and these are also 1, 2, 3, and that's actually enough information, right? And then my slope pattern for this is up 1 over 2, so I'll just from here go up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, and always with the ruler, right? We always get our ruler and we draw a nice straight line that goes through those points, and we want to make sure that we include an arrow that indicates that this continues in both directions. So the domain here is all reals, and the range is all reals also. Um, okay, the next equation is not in slope-intercept form. It's in something we call standard form, but it's pretty easy to switch it over, right? All I have to do in this case to get it in standard form is just solve for y, and there's just a 1 in front of the y, so I don't even have to divide. I'm just going to take away the 2x from both sides, so y equals -2 times x and then plus 6. So here we've got a y-intercept of 6 and a slope of -2. So let's include both of those things in our answer key over here. Um, yeah, I don't know why. There we go. So slope is -2, and of course I could write that as -2 over 1. And my y-intercept is the point where x is 0 and y is 6. All right, so let's go ahead and plot those. So at 6, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we're going to place a dot there. And then I'm going to go down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. And I will grab my favorite friend when I need to draw straight lines, Mr. Ruler. And Mr. Ruler will line up, and I'll just draw this line. Again, the domain of this is all real numbers, and the range is also all reals. Probably I should put a couple values here, right? 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, just to give us a sense of the scale. All right, the next question says, write a function that matches the graph below. Now, it is awfully tempting to always assume that if it looks like a point's going through a point, just assume it is. That could be dangerous, right? So I don't know that this goes through the point, but it certainly looks like it goes through -3. I'm going to totally verify that. The pieces of information that I'm given from this diagram, with the part where there are numbers, is that the slope of this line is 4/5. The slope is up 4 over 5. And I'm also given this point where x is -5, whoops, and y is -7. So you can see I've got an x and a y value also. So I'm going to use that information to come up with the equation of the line, and then we'll just see if the y-intercept actually happens to be at 3 or not. So I'm going to write y equals mx and then plus b. My y value was -7. My slope was 4/5 times x and plus b. Oh, no. I was going to plug in the x was -5. That's right, -5 and then plus b. Oh, that's nice. So 4/5 times -5 ends up being just -4. So 7 equals 4 plus b. -4 plus b. -4, yeah, because 4/5 times -5 is -4. And if I add 4 to both sides of that, that leaves me with a value of b being -3, which is it's exactly what it looks like, right? It looked like it, and I can see, yeah, it really is that. So just relax, Roberts. Okay, so let's go ahead and write the equation of the line then. The equation is y is equal to 4 up 4, rise of 4, run of 5 times x, and this is all starting way down at plus. I can write plus negative 3 if I want, or I could just write minus 3. Either way is fine. Last two questions, we are given pairs of points, and we're asked to identify the equation of the lines that go through each set of points. So that's this first one, through each set of points. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. I know that my strategy is I'm going to find the slope, and then I'm going to use the slope in one of these points to figure out my y-intercept. So every single one of these has both points have x values, they have y values, and my slope is going to be the change in those y values, and I'm going to take and I'm going to divide that by the change in my x values. So for the change in y's, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take 9 and I'm going to subtract negative 12. I'm going to go that way. So I'm going to, oh no, I'm going to take 12 and I want to subtract negative 9. So I'm starting at this point and I'm going to that point. So this order kind of matters. So I've got 12 minus negative 9, and I'm going to now divide that by a negative 3 minus 4. You can see I'm starting the same spot, and negative 3 minus 4. So I've got negative 3 minus the number 4. So if I simplify this slope, right, negative or 12 minus negative 9 ends up being the number 21, and negative 4. How did I end up with two negative 4s down there? Did I write that? Or did someone sneak in here and write that when I wasn't looking? Because clearly this needs to be a negative 3 minus a 4, right? Okay. Okay. It happens. Relax. Slow down, Robert. You're going too fast. All right. So, by the way, I'm emulating self-talk here. I do this when I'm doing problems, even if I'm not recording this. Sometimes I don't speak it out loud, but it's just kind of, your brain just kind of dances around things like this, and you're just thinking about things. So I've got this negative 3 minus 4, which is negative 7. So the slope here is going to be the number negative 3, right? Down 3 over 1. Now, I've got a slope, and I need to use one of my points. I'm going to just arbitrarily pick this first point. I'm going to use it. That point still has an x. That point still has a y. So I'm going to go ahead and write y equals my slope times the value of x and then plus b. I'm going to put the values of my variables x and y from that point in there, also my parameter for slope, and I'm going to solve for my other parameter, my y-intercept parameter. So we're going to write down that y is 12, and that equals my slope of negative 3 times my x value of negative 3, and then plus b. Negative 3 times negative 3 is 9, so I've got that 12 equals 9 plus b. And if I take away 9 from both sides, I get that 3 is what b is. So this is crazy, right? My slope is negative 3 and my y-intercept is positive 3. So I'm ready to write the equation. The equation is y equals negative 3 times x and then plus 3. Nice. You can see I'm showing all this work, showing all these steps. Everything's here. I can track it. I can see if I've got, mistakes there, and then I've written my answer up on the line above. Last point. I'm going to do the exact same thing, right? There is for each one of these 2 points, I have an x value, right? And for each one of these points, I have a y value. And my slope is going to be the change in my y values divided by the change in my x values. So for the change in y's, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to switch it this time. I'm going to go from this way to this way. So I'm going to start with the 35. I'm going to write down 35 minus 7. That's the change in my y values. And the change in my x values are going to be 10 minus 2. Let me write that down. 10 minus 2. So 35 minus 7 ends up being the number 28, I think, 28. And 10 minus 2 is the number, that's 8, right? So there's my slope. Yuck. Pretty sure both of those are divisible by 4. In fact, I'm positive of it because 4 times 7 is 28, and 2 times 4 is 8, right? 7 times 4 is 28, 2 times 4 is 8. So there is a giant one there I'm going to eliminate. And my slope then I'm going to write down is equal to 7/2. Okay, part of the way there. Now we need to figure out what our y-intercept is. And I'm going to use this time the second point. So I'm going to plug things into this point. So again, there's a y value, x plus b. There's a y value. I have a y that's 35, and then equals my slope of 7/2. I have an x value that's 10, and then I'm going to add b. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So this ends up being, oh, that's right, that's 70. 70 divided by 2 is 30. This is crazy. This becomes 35 is equal to 35 plus b. If I take away 35 from both sides, I get that b is 0. That means that the equation of this line is y equals 7/2 times x. And I could put the plus 0 there, but I think I will not. However, it wouldn't be incorrect either way. All right, guys, that's all 11 questions from the study team test. Test is scheduled October 5th. We'll be down in the dungeon again. If you have questions, please stop by, see me in class. Better if you want, talk to me individually, see me at lunchtime, see me before or after school. This is Mr. Roberts. Goodbye.